everybody, this is Diana from So Very Crafty, and we are here today to make this boho style handbag. I was actually asked by a viewer to make this handbag for you guys today. She saw it on the blog, and I thought I would make it for her and for the rest of you so you can learn how to make this very, very simple boho style bag. I actually carry this bag every day, as you can probably tell, but it is a super simple project, and we're going to make it here today on So Very Crafty. Now, this project contains some hardware that we don't usually use here on So Very Crafty, but it'll make this bag really a nice addition to your handbag collection if you have it. You're going to need a couple of D-rings for this. You're going to need some swivel clips, and you're going to need a Triglide, and that is the item that's going to make your strap on this project adjustable so you can make it any length that you want. You're also going to need a magnetic snap so that you can close your bag automatically. It's a nice little touch to this bag. Now, there is also a pattern for this bag that I will include in the discussion section, or in the description section of the tutorial, just below where it says see more, so you can have the pattern that goes with this. Now, I hope that you will give this project a try today. It's a fun one, and it's super simple, and it's a great everyday handbag just to carry around. If you like this project, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, ding that bell for notifications, and share this video with anybody that you think might want to have a little boho style bag for themselves to carry around every day. And if you want more sewing and crafting tutorials like my other viewer, head over to the website at www.soverycrafty.com and find loads and loads of more sewing and crafting tutorials that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. And maybe you can ask me to make a tutorial, a video tutorial just for you. So let's get started on how to make this little boho style bag. So what do we need? We're going to need the pattern. And the pattern comes in two pieces. You just need to put them together, tape them, and you will notice that there's a little diamond in the middle. Match those diamonds, tape across, and cut out the pattern. Now you're going to place the pattern on the fold, and there's a little some arrows here on the side that say fold, and you're going to cut out two outer pieces, two lining pieces, and two fusible fleece pieces if you want to use the fleece for your project. You don't necessarily need it depending on the fabric that you're using. Now, in my case, I did use fleece for my project to give it a little more structure, but you don't particularly need it if you don't want to. If you're using, say, a home decorator weight fabric like I'm using today. So make sure that you cut out two of each of those items. When you cut them out, they're going to look like this. You're going to have two pieces that look like this. You're also going to have two lining pieces that look the same. And two interfacing pieces that look like this, and that's my fusible fleece. You're also going to need a 4-inch wide times the width of your fabric. That means however wide your fabric is, and this particular fabric is quite wide, Normally it's about 42 to 45 inches wide, and you're going to make a 4-inch piece of that. And then you're going to have two smaller pieces that measure 4 inches by 3 inches for your D-ring tabs. The next thing you're going to have is 2 pocket pieces that measure 8 inches by 11.5 inches. And this is going to be for just a slip pocket inside of your bag so that you have a little bit of extra room to put your bag, put stuff in your bag. And that's really all we need for this project other than the hardware. So how do we get started? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to fuse our fleece to the wrong side of our bag, outer bag pieces. And we're just going to use a hot iron for this. I'm going to head over to my iron and I'm just going to fuse this fleece onto this. Now I'm using a little bit of a heavier weight fabric on this project. It's a home decorator weight fabric, which I did also on the bag that I carry around. But you can use standard quilting cotton if you like. I just like the little extra sturdiness that you get from the decorator weight fabric, but you don't have as many choices for fabrics that you do on the quilting cotton. So let me just head over and fuse this fleece real quick, and we'll come back and we'll move on to our next step. Okay, so here we are back. I fused my fleece to the back part of my outer fabric, and now we're just going to place our outer pieces right sides together. I'm going to stitch along the sides and the bottom using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that's going to create the actual bag part of our outer bag. So let me run over to the sewing machine and just stitch 1/4 inch down one side, the bottom, and back up the other side, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we've stitched our bag together and it's time to box our corners. We want to have a nice round bottom to our boho style bag, so we're going to take our bottom seam and our side seam, and we are just going to place them together. Now you can open these seams if you want to get them to match up, but I'm going to nest my seams. I'm going to have the bottom seam going in one direction and the side seam going in another direction. And that's going to give me a nice square boxed seam. And you can peek inside just to make sure that your seams are lined up. And I'm doing that here just because I want to make sure that I have a nice boxed seam when I'm finished. And that looks fine. And I'm going to take some clips and just clip this right here. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. Again, we're just matching the bottom seam to the side seam and creating a little triangle at the bottom. The next thing that I want to do is I want to take a ruler and I want to measure so that there is 3 inches across this corner. So you can measure down just so there's 3 inches across, and you're going to draw a line. Oops, the pen's not working very well, but I can still see it. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. The next thing I'm going to do in order to box my corners is I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm just going to stitch a straight line right across the line that I just drew. And that's going to give me a nice rounded bottom to the boho bag when it's finished. So let me just head over to the sewing machine and stitch across this straight line, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have boxed our corners, and we are going to turn our bag right sides out. And as you can see, we have a nice boxed corner for our bag on both sides. And that's basically what our outer bag looks like. Now we're going to take our strap and our two D-ring tabs, and we are going to create the strap and the D-ring tabs from these two pieces, or these three pieces. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to take the long raw edges and fold them to the center just like that, and then we're going to press with the hot iron. Once that's done, we're going to fold again lengthwise and press, and then we're going to stitch along these long edges to make sure that those raw edges are enclosed on the inside. And I'm going to do that for these two D-ring tabs and for the long strap. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and the iron, and I'm just going to take care of that, and we'll be right back to go on to our next step. Okay, so now we are back, and we've created our strap and our D-ring tabs. And we're going to take a 1-inch D-ring and wrap our D-ring tab around the 1-inch D-ring. We are then going to take our outer bag, and we're going to place our 1-inch D-ring right on the side here with the D-ring facing down, and just clip that. And we're going to do the same thing for the other tab. And we're just going to place it right there on the seam so it's right in the center. Now for the strap, we are going to place the 1-inch swivel clip, and we're just going to fold down our raw edge and then fold it over our swivel clip, and we're going to clip it. The next thing we're going to do is add our Triglide, and this is just going to go just like a belt buckle. Just like that. Then we need to add our other swivel clip. Instead of folding it down this way, we are going to feed it back through the center of our Triglide. Now this is a little fidgety, but don't worry about it, it's doable. We just need to open this up a little bit and make sure that we have some space that we can maneuver our fabrics. And now you can see that we have pulled this back through and it's now adjustable. But we have to secure it. So we're going to pull this. Sorry, I pulled it right out. And we are going to fold under the raw edge and secure it back toward our Triglide and clip it. And you will see that this will then become adjustable for our strap. We're going to head over to the sewing machine. We're just going to stitch right across here to keep this secure, right across the bottom here. And I'm just going to do a neat little stitch right across the top of my bag to secure my D-ring tabs temporarily until we can secure them inside the bag. And I'll be right back. Okay, so my D-rings have been stitched just temporarily so that they can be secured later. And as you can see, I have stitched my Triglide in place. Our strap is now adjustable. We can make it any length that we want. And we have 2 swivel clips at the end. Now it's time to make the lining. We have our 2 lining pieces. Before we stitch those together, we are going to add our slip pocket. So the first thing we're going to do is create our slip pocket, and I'm going to do that by stitching all the way around these 2 pieces of fabric that we cut out for our pocket using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to leave an opening here at the bottom so I can turn this right sides out. Once I've turned it right sides out, I'm going to press it, and then I'm going to give a nice top stitch along one edge. And then I'm going to come back and we are going to attach this to our lining piece. Okay, now we're back and we have stitched our pocket, top stitched our pocket piece, and now it's time to add it to our lining. The first thing we need to do is to find the center of our lining piece. And I'm just going to fold this in half so that I can find the center. And I'm going to put a little crease here. Then I'm going to find the center of my pocket piece, and I'm going to put a little crease there. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to measure from the top down about 2.5 inches. And I'm just going to place my pocket piece right in the center, 2.5 inches down. Then I'm going to stitch all the way around the sides and the bottom of my pocket so that I can secure this pocket to the lining and also enclose the bottom where I have turned this pocket right sides out. Now, you have a choice here. What I did on my bag, because this is quite a large pocket, is I stitched a line right down the middle of my pocket, so I had two separate pockets, and that's what I'm going to do for this bag. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to stitch down the sides and along the bottom, and I'm going to stitch a line right down the middle so that I have two pockets instead of one. So now I've added my pocket piece to my lining of my bag. It's now time to add the magnetic snap. Once again, we need to find the center. I've already found the center on my one side of my bag, but I'm going to find the center on the other side of my bag. Now it should be easy for you to find the centers of your bag just by folding in half, but since this bag is cut on the fold should already be there. I'm going to once again go to my ruler, and I'm going to measure down 1 inch down the center, and I'm going to place a mark using a heat erasable pen. I'm going to do that on both sides of the lining. Now, in order to add a magnetic snap, I would recommend that you fuse a small piece of Pellon 808 or 809 to the back side of your lining. And I have a little piece of that here. You could use some craft fuse or other kind of interfacing just to support the magnetic snap. So I'm just going to cut a little square from a scrap piece of interfacing that I have on hand. And I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm just going to fuse it to the wrong side of my lining piece, and I'll be right back. Now I've taken care of that. Now it's time to add my magnetic snap. Now you will notice that a magnetic snap has these grommets, and there's a center circle and two sort of ovals on this. I'm going to place the center circle on the circle part where I had marked my one-inch mark. And I'm going to take my pen, and I'm going to then mark these slots or ovals. And I'm going to do that on both sides of my project here. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take a seam ripper, or you could use a small pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut through these little slits here. And be very careful if you're using a seam ripper, because you don't want to rip your fabric too much. You just want to cut a little bit of slit here so that your magnetic snap can fit in. Now each side of your magnetic snap has prongs to it. Now you are going to take one side of your magnetic snap and place it into the holes that you just cut. And you can see that I have this interfacing here. Take your grommet and put it over the top of your prongs, and then fold the prongs down, and that secures your magnetic snap. And you're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. And again, we have our interfacing there. That will just give us a little bit of extra structure for our magnetic snap. Now we can go and complete the rest of our lining. And all we're going to do is place these right sides together and stitch them exactly the same way that we stitched the outer bag. We are going to stitch along the sides and the bottom of our bag, but we're going to leave an opening in the bottom of our bag so that we can turn this right sides out. So stitch just along the sides and part way on the bottom so that we can turn our bag right sides out. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine. And I know I'm not showing any sewing in this particular video, but there's no need because everything is a straight seam on this. So just stitch straight 1/4 inch sides and part way on the bottom, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have stitched my lining and it's time for us to box our corners. And we're going to box our corners exactly the same way that we did on the outer bag. So I'm just going to line up the bottom seam and the side seam, and I'm going to stitch along the line, measure down 3 inches and stitch along the line, and then I'll be back. There's no reason to show it on the video because we did exactly the same thing on the outer bag. So now we have completed our lining. Now it's time to finish our bag. We are going to open our lining and we are going to place our outer bag. Notice that our outer bag is right sides out and our lining is wrong sides out. So when we place them together, they are right sides together. We're going to line up these side seams. Make sure that our D-ring tabs are in between the two layers. And we're going to clip all the way around. The top of our bag. Now you can put as many or as few clips as you like on the top of your bag. It just depends. If you're a more advanced sewist, you may not need very many, but if you're just a beginner, you may need a lot of clips to hold these layers together. Now we're going to head back over to the sewing machine and we're simply going to stitch along the top of our bag all the way around. And then we'll finish up this project. Okay, so now we have stitched our bag together. We are going to reach in through the opening that we left in the lining and pull our bag right sides out. And we can see that our lining is attached to our outer bag. And our D-ring tabs are where they should be. Now we want to push our lining into our outer bag and we're going to clip along the top. Now I would advise that you press this, but for now I'm just going to clip this. so that our lining and our outer bag are nice and neat. And you can see that that lining fits nicely inside the bag. And we have our slip pocket and our magnetic snap in place. So the final thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back over to the sewing machine and we're just going to top stitch all the way around the top of our bag so that we can secure this lining in place. And we are also going to stitch the opening closed in the bottom of our bag so that our stuff doesn't fall through. And then we'll add our strap and we'll be finished. Okay, so we have finished our bag. We're going to clip on our handle, our shoulder strap, just using our swivel clips. And we have finished our boho style shoulder bag that anyone can make. I hope you enjoyed this project today. I enjoyed making it for you. And now I have two boho style bags that I can carry around. I have my little gardening fabric bag, and now I have my French words with the gray and tan lettering. So we're ready to go with this little bag. It was so simple to make. It didn't take long at all. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, ding that bell for notifications, and share this video with anybody that you think would like to have a boho style bag to carry around every day, because I really like mine, and I know that you'll like yours if you put one together. It's really a simple project. And if you want more projects that you won't see here on the YouTube channel and want me to make one of those for a video, head over to the website at www.sewverycrafty.com and check out what's over there. And maybe I'll make a video just for you like I did for a viewer in this video. So that's it for today, and I hope that you will join me next time for the next video that comes out here at Sew Very Crafty. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.